if you like what we do here at Off the Deep End and wish to support us, the best thing you can do is to share it on your social media, but also you can tell your mother, sister, cousin, auntie, the kid that's walking by you down the street, your gym crush, anybody about the episode you're listening to and why you liked it. There's also another way to support us, and it's to go to the link posted in the description and on our Facebook page. And when you become a subscriber, you'll have access to subscriber-only content and ad-free listening for every single episode we put out. No matter what you choose to do, I do greatly appreciate you for tapping in, and please do reach out to our Facebook page so we can chat. Tell us what you feel, what you think, what you don't like, what I could improve upon. At the end of the day, this is meant to be a conversation starter. And just to be completely open and honest, every single penny that goes to the Off the Deep End program with subscribers is going to help other people by spreading the word via ads or getting new microphones so we can have more people at a time. And I really do appreciate every single listener. So thank you so much. I hope you have a great day and don't pass the pain. Are you thinking about making a podcast? Spotify has a platform that lets you make one. And if I can figure it out, you definitely can too. You can create your own content all in one place for free with zero hangups and even earn money as soon as you get started. Spotify lets you record and edit episodes from your phone or computer so you can go mobile, just like I enjoy to do. My favorite thing about it is that you can create video episodes if you wish and upload them to wherever podcasts are heard. You can even set up subscriptions or, if you're like me, listener support options for listeners to help you grow. I 10 out of 10 recommend the Spotify for Podcasters app. Or, why don't you just step over to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started on your own podcast. All right. Welcome back to another episode. Obviously, you've already heard my great voice during the intro, but I'm joined now with Anthony. So thank you for making the trip down, man.
Yeah, of course, dude. It's a pleasure. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So let's get straight into it. Tell me about your childhood.
So growing up, I actually grew up in Egypt
Ooh.
until I was 9 years old. So very, it was a good childhood, but it got a little bit rough at the end. So we decided it would be best to like move up here to to America.
Okay.
And then when I moved here, it got even tougher. Not really speaking the best English. Kids would kind of make fun of me for being like the weird kid, or I would stand out. So
because you had an accent at the
yeah,
time.
yeah, and I was still learning how to speak English, and I was kind of weird now that I like look back at it. It's like I didn't know how to fit in. So I was just that weird kid that no one really talked to, or no one like, kids just made fun of me for it.
Oh, it's fucked up. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So my way of coping was to eat and play video games.
Oh.
So you can already see where this is going. I
think you're gonna be in like a supermodel shape.
Yeah, I'm gonna be.
And you're gonna have great hand-eye coordination.
Exactly. So, even like playing outside, it was the same. In my apartments were the same kids at my school, so they were like, "You got the cooties, like don't come near me," or like whatever, like weird stuff like that as kids. So I ended up just staying home, eating all the cookies, all like the bad food. And just playing video games and not moving. And then I'll go to school, come back, and it was just this cycle from 4th grade all the way up to 8th grade. So, like, how many years is that?
Probably 4 years.
4 years of just eating junk food.
It's like 1,200 and something days.
Yeah.
I can't do the math. No. It's almost like 1,500 days, I think.
Yeah, long time.
Yeah.
So, very bad on my health. And nothing really clicked for me. Like, kids started making fun of me for my weight. So it was nothing new. I was like, whatever. And instead of making fun of for my accent, they're making fun of my weight. And then what really happened was I went to the doctor beginning of 8th grade. He's like, hey, you're 270 something pounds. This is not okay for a kid your age. I was 14. You're gonna have a lot of health complications. I had high blood pressure. I had my glucose levels were all off, cholesterol, you name it. Like, it was so much going on. Of course, I don't remember everything. And he was like, maybe we should set you up with a dietitian or something to kind of get you back in check. And that's when it clicked. That's when I was like, hey, I need to make a change. I hate the way I look. Every time I wake up, I look in the mirror. I hate the way I look. I can't, in PE, I can't even run the mile. Kids are always making fun of me for the way I look, for my weight. Even little comments here and there, even at places like church, like, oh, get another sandwich, or oh, get another this. People don't really think that that gets to you, but it really does,
Mm.
right?
I remember growing up, and their children can be so mean and harmful. For me, it was how skinny I was because I didn't have a lot of muscle mass. Like I don't have I never had muscle before I put the muscle on, right?
Yeah,
And then I was able to change my body, and then people try to find something to pick at no matter what. I think that some
exactly.
people are just so unhappy with who they are that they wish to drag others down, like a flounder fish, right?
Mhm.
Or tilapia, bottom feeder shit,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
And that's actually like exactly what you said. That's what I realized now. Like, even though I'm in, decent shape,
great shape is. Let's be honest.
not, I wouldn't say great, but like, even though I'm in maybe the best shape I've ever been in my life, um, people will still find something to pick at. Like, oh, you're full of yourself, when I really don't think I am, or like, oh, you're this, or oh, you're that. There's always going to be something that people will find. And I feel like if you are truly passionate about what you want to do, and you see success in that, ignore what the people say, ignore what the haters say. It's all a matter of time before they turn around and they're like, hey, how'd you do this?
Mm.
You know?
Jealousy is the ugliest trait. Carrie Hilton said it best,
Yeah.
and it really does contribute to every aspect of life. I know for me, when I was going through the craziest stages of my bodybuilding preps, whenever I was bulking crazily, it was, oh, you must be taking steroids, when I'm really just out eating. I don't know anybody who ate as much as me. Like I was
How many
like
calories were
I
you
don't
at?
I
Or
don't
like,
even I have a coach for that. I don't count
yeah,
calories. I just eat the food, man.
yeah.
That's why Brian's so great,
Dude,
right?
yeah,
But
exactly.
I'd be eating. There was a point where I was eating where I was piss poor. I had a major financial crisis, and I was still able to thanks to Brian have great prices, and my wife being great and supporting me and pushing me. Honey, you should still go after this, and I was able to just do chicken and rice and green beans. I still was growing very at a rapid pace. My lifts were getting more heavier and heavier. I didn't see a limit to this whole thing called bodybuilding. Right?
Yeah,
Some people pay for the plastic or the silicone, or they move fat around, Brazilian butt lifts and all
yeah,
these things. When a lot of people don't realize that you can alter your shape, and you don't have to have the same form that you were gifted as a childhood in your
exactly.
childhood because of a lack of knowledge. There's no book on how to be a parent or how to manage your kid's diet, and there's definitely not a book apparently on how to stop kids from being bullies, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is like the whole bullying thing. I would come home and like cry to my parents about it, but in Egypt there's no such thing as bullying. Like, kids won't just make fun of you for that.
They don't do that.
No, like, it's not a
It
thing.
sounds like a magical place.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's other things that are wrong with it, right?
Mhm.
But even I don't understand, because in other countries, like, I've talked to a lot of people about this, there's no really bullying. Like, kids won't make fun of you just for, the way you look or the way that, or it's really rare. It's it's mainly like if you do something to bother someone, or you, like, irritate someone, or like you do something to offend someone, that's when they will, you know, get like
More
that.
of retribution
Yeah.
instead of instigation, right?
Exactly,
Okay.
versus them just like, "Oh, he's the weird kid, don't talk to him," and then everyone just doesn't talk to him, you know?
Peer pressure is a very powerful thing, and it really bothered me when I was growing up. Being I was bullied a bunch, and I was bullied, and then I started becoming extremely violent, and then
Yeah.
like obviously the bullying quickly turned to fear, but now I had turned into that monster. And it is a very thin line between sticking up for yourself and not. Now, like in my more mature years, like I'm about to be in my 30s, I've learned so much from other people because I listen to other people's stories, their experiences. I listen to the impact of bullying. I listened to my friend talk about how he didn't want to live and how he tried to commit suicide at age like 7 and 9 and stuff like that because of bullying.
And
But
I had nights like that. I never speak
yeah,
about it, but I had nights where I was like, I hate this. Like, I don't wanna be
mm,
here, because, I'd go to school, kids, that's all they would do. Like, it would be so, like, I had no one,
mm,
And honestly, that's where, like, I feel like the gym really saved me too, because I went from, like, feeling like I have no purpose, to then I found this passion where I get to go, work out. When I was in 8th grade and then I decided to work out, I was actually walking, or like running 2 miles to the gym. I would work out and then 2 miles back every day after
mm.
school.
And that's phenomenal. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And how so you 2 miles. I don't know very many people who do that. I know I used to jog when I got back from the military. I used to jog 1 mile to LA Fitness from Edmonds,
Yeah.
and then back, and that's where I ran into you for the first time. And I already saw that you had this tremendous, uh, not a commitment, not like you like lifting, like it was this unearthly thing that is bringing you, like the gravity was bringing you towards fitness, and no one knows what it is when we see somebody who's
Yeah.
consistently in the gym, always asking questions, trying to better their journey. But ultimately you had that, and it was super awesome to see, because I felt like I had something, that's something we shared. The gym saved me when I got, transitioning out of the military. There's a lot of people who struggle with it.
Yeah.
I've done a whole series about the struggles of leaving the military, but it's so great when you have something that will not just force dopamine in your brain and give you these endorphins and
Yeah.
pump blood and make you feel alive,
Mhm.
and I don't know anybody who's ever said, oh, I had a bad workout. Like, once the
Yeah.
workout's over, you feel great about yourself. you
Exactly.
can't you can't look in the mirror and be unhappy when you just busted your butt in the
And
gym.
the one thing I live by is your um the workout that didn't happen
Mm-hmm.
is the one you're gonna regret versus the bad workout that happened,
100%.
right?
100%. And it's so great that we're able to recognize things like that, because we're not the first ones to come up with these sayings. There's a whole fitness community out there, and when I usually reach out to my friends when they're going through tough times and say, hey, you need to go to the gym. And of course, all the people who don't go to the gym come out of the woodworks on when I recommend this to somebody on social media or in person, like, oh, you don't, maybe he doesn't have the motivation to get out of the gym. Should I not cheer him on?
Yeah.
Should I not encourage this person to find self betterment by forcing yourself to become better? When you lifting weights, creating those micro tears in your muscle, and you fill them up with the food, and then you go to sleep, and then you wake up and you're a little bit sore, but guess what, you're smart and you're training a different part of your body the next day, and you're breaking that part down, and the other part doesn't hurt as much the next day, and you're eating great, and you go to stretch, you go to take a deep breath outside when you're running, after your lungs feel like you're on fire in the gym. You feel powerful, you feel in like an engulfed in your own amazing fitness journey. It is really, really hard to see how difficult it is to get out of bed. It's
Yeah.
hard for depression to set in. And that's why I do always say, go exercise. You know what? It could be walking 20 minutes a day. Walk 20 minutes a day.
Yeah,
Go
like,
out with your dog or something.
what's funny is everyone says prep is the hardest thing, or
Mm-mm.
it's I love prep.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love it. I wake up, I was doing an hour of cardio fasted in the morning. First thing in the morning, I would go home, I would feel amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I'd eat my food, go work out, do another hour of cardio after my workout, come home, feel amazing, eat more food, and sleep. Everything was so structured, everything was so set. Yeah, I had some days where I was like, man, I don't want to get off the couch and turn off the light, or like something that simple. But it is so fun. Like, it's literally just you versus you, and that's your limit, is
Mm-hmm.
you.
That bodybuilding is definitely one of the sports where I used to say it was it's limitless. It's not limitless, but you set that limit.
Yeah.
If you sit there and say, I'll never be able to do rack pull with a full stack on it, or sorry, with 5 plates on each side, or a pull down with a full stack, you're setting those limits. I started off, there was like, when I started off going to the gym, I'm not gonna lie, I could lift like 90 pounds on the lat pull down machine for
Yeah.
like two. Fast forward a year later, I'm doing the whole stack, complete natural. Like, you're in the very end of my prep, would have lowest amount of calories, but I had this thing inside of me that was the seed that I've been watering, and I give it a little bit of sunlight with the food, and then
Yeah.
photosynthesis does this thing, and the bees come over to spread the pollination, and all these things happen, right, with the food, the water, the rest, the making sure you train your legs,
Yeah.
not skipping a part of this beautiful thing you're creating.
And that's the
It's
thing
so
too, is
beautiful.
like once you like get super like strict about it, like I probably have had one cheat meal in the last 2 years,
Mhm.
maybe two cheat meals in the last 2 years. And I'm eating the same meals every day on the meal plan, haven't skipped a workout. I even cut my thumb and got surgery on it one time. And I was going into the gym like bench pressing with my four
Yes.
fingers and like lat pull downs with four fingers. Like,
Yeah.
it's more than just an addiction. It's like I can't go a day without it.
I think it's because, do you think it's because It's a lifestyle that you have created, and you've created this new person of, because I know that in your past you've had people tell you who this Anthony character was, but now you're deciding and you're physically impacting who Anthony really is, and they're able to see that.
Yeah. I think it's a mix of both. It's like, it's also like when you take the pre-workout,
Mhm.
you're driving to the gym listening to music, all this dopamine is releasing. You go get a really nice workout, break a sweat, do a little bit of cardio, and then after you just feel so good about yourself. Like you feel so accomplished. You feel
Mhm.
like um you've achieved something in your day. So that's why I'm like, maybe that's why I love working out so much. Because on my rest days, I'm like, ugh,
Yeah,
can I just go work out again? But I need to take that rest.
I usually do yoga if
Yeah,
I'm on a rest day,
I
or
wanted to get into yoga.
there's a great uh it's I forgot who the leader of it is, but it's called Warrior Yoga.
Okay,
Brett something. I'm pretty sure it's Brett something. I'll find it and I'll send it to you after this.
yeah,
But I did that in high school throughout my football time, my time playing football. Every Tuesday and Thursday we do yoga,
hmm,
and wow, what a difference it made. You
yeah,
never realize how aligned your life feels after
yeah,
you've done yoga and you're laying on the mat just breathing.
yeah.
So
I did it a little bit because I did running start
yeah,
in high school, and I did a little bit of yoga as one of my classes. I loved it. Like it was the
good.
best hour. It was me and me. And just it's so relaxing, and I also learned I was a little more flexible than I thought. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And you need to stretch those muscles so that we can avoid injury.
Mhm.
All right. So I know about your childhood. So why don't you tell me, and everybody listening, of course, what, where I know the best time to start is now, as far as any fitness journey. How does one begin a fitness journey? What are the steps? What are the failures that you done in your when you started, and what would you tell people to avoid?
Okay. The one mistake I did was lose the weight too quickly.
Mm,
I lost 100 pounds in like 6 months to a year, which was probably the unhealthiest thing I have ever done because I didn't tell anyone this, but I was so fed up with the way I looked and I just wanted to lose it today and just today.
mm,
And I would go, I'm telling you, like I was doing the 2 hours of or 2 miles, 4 miles a day, basically,
mm,
the gym, and I would eat a can of tuna in the whole day.
mm.
So that's like 200 calories.
Yeah, starvation diet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I did. I looked up the military diet trying to lose weight. I did all these little shortcuts, just barely eating. And I would like, that's all I would do is I would just barely eat. And I lost the weight. I got super skinny. Like I was like skinny fat. Like I had no muscle, nothing. I was just a stick. And I was like, I really enjoy working out. And all I did was just more research. And that's all it takes is just do your research. Learn what is best for you. There's no one diet that works for everyone.
Mm,
I think when I really got my things together, and I started, recomping where I was like putting on muscle and losing body fat, intermittent fasting worked really, really well for me. I've seen some studies saying it increases testosterone and growth hormone production, which is pretty fascinating. But it worked great for me. Right now, I'm not intermittent fasting. I'm eating, 7 meals a day.
oh yeah, you're
Uh,
getting stacked. Yeah.
yeah. So,
Yes.
um, yeah, that's what I would say is like start today, but just do research and learn what works best for you.
Mm.
Um, whether that's being in a caloric deficit and tracking through MyFitnessPal, like I said, intermittent fasting, keto. There's a million diets out there. There's not one that works. All of them work in their own way. Just find what works for you and just stick with it. What do you think about that?
I definitely agree. One of the biggest mistakes I made with when I started fitness was just listening to the wrong people. Everybody tries to find, like, it's natural. We as human beings, we try to avoid difficult things. So when we're going through a difficult process like changing our bodies, we're going to look for shortcuts. And sometimes a shortcut isn't what you need. And when it comes to fitness and building the body, or removing pieces of the body you don't want and adding muscle there, or just leaning out, however, so one would want to say changing the body through fitness, it is essential that you avoid false prophets. There are so many people out there that will say, here, take the supplement, it'll work, or here, try this and it'll work, or this will work. You
Yeah.
know, that might work along with a good diet, and diets have to manipulate as your body changes. It
Exactly.
has to be constantly manipulated. You know, hearing good, you did a great job, or paying a IFBB Pro that's online
Yeah.
like $600, and then they give you a copy and paste diet plan. You can just come up with the natural stuff on a bodybuilding.com
Yeah.
with no specified like alterations any that
Hmm.
have to do with anything with
Yeah.
what I need. That was a big
Eh,
difficulty for me because
yeah.
I was steered wrong time after time after time after time. And I was doing the work. I was doing the 2 hour workouts. I was doing the reps until like when I say I couldn't walk out of the gym some days, I really could not
Yeah.
because I really pushed myself to that limit. Static holds, slow on
Yeah.
the decentric, and powerful, high, hard, heavy reps under my small frame. And the muscle came there. The muscle did show up,
Yeah.
but ultimately I wasn't eating enough, and that was really one of the things I looked out for.
Yeah.
If someone's telling you eat like you said, the starvation diet, right? The starvation diet is not meant to help you at all. It does something to your body that is just damaging. I think it does something to your mind too. Like you
Yeah.
develop nasty, bad eating habits. Like for instance, I still can't eat sugar without feeling nauseous.
Dude, I literally, yeah, and that's the thing is I don't have any cravings.
Mm.
Like the only food I really crave is sushi because it's
Yeah,
so good,
sushi's great.
right? Like who doesn't like sushi
If
or
you don't like
poke?
sushi, I don't know. You might be just, I don't know, like a Nazi or something
Yeah.
because I couldn't get it.
Yeah. But like I don't want pizza or like burgers
Hmm.
or fries. Like that stuff makes me kind of nauseous.
Hmm.
Um, or like candy. I'm just like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Um, which is a good thing, I guess.
yeah. It definitely
Um,
is. I mean, it'll save you the dentist bill. I know that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also the second thing that I wanted to bring up, since day one, the one thing I'm so thankful for is I only focused on my form.
Mm.
I watched a lot of YouTube videos, you know, Athlean X, Jeff
Hmm.
Nippert, everyone. And I was like, how do I do this exercise? How do I do this exercise? How do I do this? How do I do that? I would ask everyone in the gym, can you help me with this? Can you watch my form in that?
Hmm.
And that's all I did since day one. And I still do it to this day because you never know. You will always learn something new. Always. You never know. Like I learned a new exercise the other day.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I feel this 10 times better,
Oh
you
God,
know?
I absolutely. I learned. So my uncle's a judge for the IFBB and the NPC, and he told me that his favorite exercise, banded rack pulls.
Banded rack
Banded
pulls.
rack pulls. He said your lower back will thank you later, and so I listened.
How does that work?
Well, you have to put a band around. I can show you a video later, but you put a band on. So you stretch the band and you let it drape over the bar
Hmm.
on each side, and you attach it to whatever platform you're working off
So
of.
do you put the band up top or down low?
Oh, so a band goes just over the bar, and then you do a rack pull with it, and the band is secured to the actual platform you're lifting off of,
Okay.
so that so at the peak of the exercise you're maximizing your potential.
Yeah.
And wow, oh my goodness, I don't like
The
there was a
lower
physical
back
change,
pumps
there was a
or
serious change. Well,
yeah,
my body just changed so rapidly
really.
because I was putting less strain on my spine and
Yeah.
everything like that. But also, I my joints thanked me. There was no pressure, there was no uncomfortability, and I felt like I could go up the weight even more. So
Dude,
I was doing like 4 plates on each side and
yeah.
the rack and the bands, and it was tough, but
And I
it's great.
noticed that too. So um right after the show,
Mhm.
I've been following Brian's workout plan the whole time and it works
Oh,
amazing.
it does work great. He's got to figure it out.
Yeah,
He
he
does.
does. And I went off it for a little bit. I was like, hey Brian, I've been doing this for 2 years, bro. I need to switch something up. I'm getting bored.
Mhm.
So I started doing my own workout plan, a little bit more compound movements, a little bit heavier stuff. My joints were killing me.
Yes, brother.
Everything. Like I wasn't recovering as much. It was like my joints were hurting, everything. I was like, maybe I should just take a week break, like, you know, just go lightweight and then switch back to Brian's workout.
Mhm.
Switch back to it. I just my muscle looked fuller and like my joints were thanking me. Everything. I was like,
Brian's workout is I love how he structured it because he structured it for bodybuilding.
yeah,
Uh, some people do different things. Everybody likes different things, right? so he had me like when I was working the last part of me working with him so far. I was doing a lot of 5x5s, like everything hard and heavy, dude. Is about like I was in the gym probably 50 minutes tops,
Wow.
like back to back to back to back. I put the weight
Yeah.
on there, I moved it, I grunted, I sweated, I cried, I slammed the weight, and I'd go home.
Yeah.
And I just grew like a weed
Yeah.
because he told me to do it. Like so, there's something about him understanding where you're at and what your body needs. And it works.
Exactly. Yeah.
It works,
And
man.
he the funny thing is you know, Brian met me when I was 15,
Yeah.
and when I was 15, everyone thought I was like 18 because I had like a pretty good foundation.
Yes.
And Brian, he came up to me, he's like, "Hey man, are you competing?" I'm like, "No, I'm 15." He didn't believe me. He was like, "You're 15." He was like in shock. He knew my uncle at the time. And then I actually wanted to sign up with him, but I was 15, so I
Mhm.
didn't really, have the money. I didn't have all my things together. Um, but I knew he was the best coach. And then, time comes around, and he thought I had amazing potential
Mhm.
from 15. Um, time comes around, I'm like, all right, time to sign up with Brian, get all my
Yes.
my shit together, sign up with him, and dude, I just blew up.
Mhm.
Like
It's
everything.
disgusting. It's
Yeah.
disgusting. You know what? It's almost like he knows what he's doing or something. It's weird.
Yeah.
I only say that because I've had bad coaches and bad guidance in the past. It's really important to find somebody who is really committed.
Yeah.
I've sat next to Brian as he works on with his clients, and I was sitting there probably about an hour and a half.
He's
Well,
so
and
passionate.
he's always focused on his clients. I don't
Yeah.
even know where he makes time to brush his teeth in the morning, right? So he doesn't have bad breath every time I see him, but I don't know when he has time for normal
Yeah.
things like in life.
Yeah.
He is, and that's one thing I can say about him, man. Brian, if you hear this, I love you, brother.
Love you too,
He's
bro.
somebody I really, really can honestly recommend to people. And I hate
Yeah.
recommending things to people that I wouldn't back up. I've refused sponsors. I've refused a lot of things because I don't believe in them. But I have something I can believe in, and
Yeah.
it's his coaching method,
Yeah.
and so that's why
100%.
I follow it, and it's obviously why you follow it because the shit works, right?
Yeah. And
Um,
he truly like cares about his people.
mhm.
Like I've never met a coach who actually cares about the people he trains, and he he's real too. Like he
Mhm.
won't lie to you, say, "Hey, you're doing this, you're doing that." Like he will be straight up like,
Mhm.
"Hey, get your shit together. Hey, do this. Hey,
Mhm.
like he's real with me.
Yeah.
He keeps me in check."
He's told me once when I got recommended to compete at a show, he's like, "Why don't you take 6 months off and just build?" And I did,
And you
and
got first.
I got first and overall, and
Yeah.
it was nice. Listening to people is something I try to do all the time. I never have all the answers. I'm always looking for new knowledge and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
it's always important to be in a room full of people smarter than you in different aspects, right? Not
Exactly.
everybody. I hate when everyone's smarter than me because I get
Because then you're
confused.
yeah, you're like, "Okay, what are you guys talking about?"
What do you? That's a 10-letter word. Just slow it on down.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really do believe in his approach. So, how long have you been bodybuilding for?
I would say since day 1.
Since day one.
Yeah. So, day 1 I was like, I love bodybuilding. Like
Mhm.
I'd watch the YouTube videos, right? And I would be like, I want to look like that. And like I used to have days where I would wish, like I wish I would look like that. Like it's my dream. Like it's all I ever wanted. Every night. That's all I think about since I was like, the fat kid at 14. And I made it happen. I was like I just put my head down, put in the work, and you know, been doing it for 7 years now. So, yeah.
Damn, 7 years every single day, being consistent. It's gonna even if
Yeah.
you're so if I was honest, if you're consistent for 90 days, you're gonna have guaranteed results if you're covering your bases. And
Yeah.
your basis is your water, one,
Mhm.
because with water you can't do anything with your body. Two, the food. The food has
Yeah.
to be there. The right kind of food. You can't eat just
Exactly.
popcorn. I know people that can't eat popcorn and pizza and look great, but I don't recommend it because you're neglecting parts of your
Yeah.
health, and it's pathetically bad
Exactly.
to
Yeah,
ignore
your
parts of your
cholesterol
health.
is gonna
Like
be like
you're
through
gonna
the
do it
roof.
to yourself,
Yeah.
right? Especially with all that butter lovers one. It's the worst one. So and number three, the exercises. You have
Yeah.
to make sure you're training the muscle, not training your joints,
Yeah.
because you're gonna
Yeah.
feel that.
Yeah,
Ooh.
100%. And that's the thing too is like I would say the first year I messed up pretty bad in diet wise. I was just starving myself. But as much research as I was doing on, you know, form and everything, I switched that over to diet, and I got my diet in check from the second year I started working out. I had my training in check second year I worked out, and I've been consistent since the second year all the way up till now. Haven't really gone more than a week without working out. Haven't really gone off my diet. I've always ate clean
Mhm.
since that day. Um, and it's a lifestyle more than anything. It doesn't really feel like a job. It doesn't feel like any like a lot of whenever I go out with it's bodybuilding is hard because whenever I go out with friends or whenever I go on a trip or whenever I go anywhere, I always bring my meal prep.
Mhm.
I always gotta have the gym. I always gotta, have my water, everything.
Yeah.
And it's hard because your friends are like, "Oh, just eat this meal, or just eat that," and they don't really understand.
That word just
Yeah,
is like usually followed by excuse.
yeah,
So I was just, or no, I
yeah,
just meant to say, it's usually followed by
yeah.
excuse or
Or it's
lie.
like, I don't know how you do this to yourself. We're like, why are you doing this to yourself? Like, just eat the cookie, bro. I don't want to. Like,
Yes.
I love eating my this meal.
People try to pressure you
Yeah,
into failing. A lot of times I've noticed, um, especially like in the gym community, that you see the people at the gym and they pretend to be nice to you and then they're really rude.
yeah,
And you find out that they're really rude and it sucks because you try to have a great relationship. You're all supposed to be in the gym working on each other. It's like
yeah,
somebody who makes fun of a fat person exercising at the gym.
yeah.
It's completely just it's pathetic. It's
It
ugly.
is. Yeah,
You can't try to divert somebody off their goals. I love if I see somebody knitting the world's biggest blanket. Do you think I'm going to tell them, "Hey, crocheting is better"? Like, do you know how stupid that sounds? It
yeah,
sounds absolutely horrible. So swaying someone from their fitness goals is definitely not something that's positive at all.
yeah.
What changes did you undergo other than just your physical appearance
Okay,
throughout this experience?
so mentally, I grew so much, so much. I always used to try to get attention
Hmm.
because I never got attention, right?
Okay.
So I would do negative things to get attention, and now I'm aware of that. I would do negative things to get attention, and that brought me negative attention, not good attention.
Hmm.
And then when I got in shape, I started getting, um, you know, I feel like it hurts me to say this, but I feel like you're treated differently when you lose weight. And I can say that because I used to be really fat and I saw how people treated me even at the store, even anywhere. And then I see how people treat me when I'm in shape and I'm treated like a different person.
In what way?
People treat me better, people have more respect for me, and I noticed I kind of get attention when I talk versus before it was like people wouldn't treat me as good. People would ignore me when I say stuff. And people wouldn't take me as seriously. And it hurts me to say that, but I'm like, I don't really.
Mhm. It sucks being treated differently because I definitely recognize the difference as well. People used to I used to get punked when I was a kid because
Yeah,
I didn't have any muscle, and then I put on the muscle, and everybody became my friend.
yeah,
And I saw and my philosophy around it was super simple. I've been working at this for a long time, and I only kept good people in my life. So if you weren't in my life to be here to support my goals, right? And some people call it selfish, or self. I call it self focused. When you're focused on your goals, everything else has to align with those, and you can deviate, but it might bring naysayers and or negativity, like you talked about. In along with that, you're gonna have people try to sway you, people who don't understand, try to mock your goals when you're trying to change yourself. But they'll be the first one to support you if you went. We're gonna go get an ass job from Dr. Miami,
yeah,
or get your lips done, or get Botox injections,
yeah,
or things like that. If
yeah,
when we're altering our body like that, it's not frowned upon because that's bad. But as you change your body, it's not. I've
yeah,
seen great transformations with people losing weight, and
yeah,
I get so excited and almost overwhelmed
yeah.
sometimes seeing
And
images of that
yeah,
too.
and I like the one thing that like literally makes me keep going because I've had times where I was like, I don't really want to post on social media. I want to take a break because I do get some hate and it gets to me sometimes. But the one thing that keeps me going is anyone like I get so many DMs if people are like, you're motivating me
Hmm.
to lose weight, or you're truly inspiring, or things like that. And that, like, to me, I'm like, I'm inspiring someone. That is so, like, humbling.
Mhm,
Like, I'm like, never thought in a million years I would have at least an opportunity to inspire even one person, and to be able to inspire more than one person. That is, like, so humbling. I'm so thankful that I'm able to, help people become a better person.
mm,
Um, and that kind of that brings my drive even more. I'm like,
mhm.
I can't mess up, because then I have all this weight on my shoulder, to where, like, if I mess up, then I'm setting a bad example, right?
You're serving the world, and when you're a beacon of light for a lot of people who are in dark places, they're gonna it's natural leadership tendencies. You're gonna feel like you want to carry yourself in a positive light, so
Yeah,
that people who are looking up to you for, even if it's just somebody pressing their finger into a digital screen on our
yeah,
phones, right? And there's somebody on there we've never met, and they're drawing something, some positive energy from what you're doing.
yeah.
That makes everything kind of come full circle. Because I don't did you have that for you when you started that group of positive people?
No,
Yeah,
no,
me,
it
I
was,
definitely, I definitely didn't.
yeah, it was just me. Like, I had no friends. It was just me in the gym, and I think that's what made me love it even more, because it was a place where I can go to just do me, and just,
Mhm.
didn't really have anything else. That's all I had.
Yeah,
So,
I got friends that go to. So I have a bunch of friends. I have a bunch of friends who do different things. I got my shooting friends. I got my friends from my past, and they're very dwindling. They're dwindling down because I'm seeing that my goals aren't in life aren't matching up with how they want to be doing the same things forever. I have my friends who I've never met. I have my friends from the military. I have some friends from fitness, but they're always very very powerful people because they stay in it. The people that stay to it rise. It's like yeast; it rises to the top. Greatness is always going to rise to the top, especially as society stops. They keep lowering the bar for what excellent is supposed to look like.
yeah,
So it makes the excellent people look even more excellent, in my opinion. And I love seeing that. But at the same time, when you see one person starting to do great things, it's going to affect everybody in their circle.
yeah,
So I have all my friends from my different circles who reach out to me and they tell me these positive things like, "Man, I just listened to this podcast," or "Hey, I saw you shooting. I want to go with you," or
yeah,
blah blah blah, or what did you put a new trigger on that gun, or stuff like that, right?
yeah,
All these different aspects of my life, and as I'm trying to progress in all of them, putting all my eggs in different baskets and stuff like that, it's you can start to see who rises with you. Have you gained friends who rise with you in your fitness journey?
110%. I feel like, honestly, it's more than friends. It's a family. Like, with Brian and the Clickway family,
Mm,
like, we're all hyping each other up. We're all keeping each other in check. And it's like, I feel like I have brothers and sisters, and we're all just one big family,
mhm.
more than just friends. And I'm so happy. I'm so thankful I have that.
I'm happy for you too, man.
Yeah.
It was always overwhelming, the group of people that I competed with last, and the people that I prepped with throughout my time in this region. It's been overwhelming,
Yeah.
not just from like having a new family or whatever, but it's overwhelming because I never thought that I'd have a group of people who believes in something as strongly as I do, like that you have to change in order for you to feel better about yourself, and why give up halfway through when you can go all the way through. Like for me, it was like cheating on my diet. I Brian laughs all the time at me, and he still. I hope he tells this. I hope he uses this as an example of how worried about prep you're supposed to be. I ate a handful of Tic Tacs because I felt super nauseous one day at work. Um, I ate all my meals and everything, but I felt super nauseous, and I thought I was gonna throw up, so I put some in my mouth. After I did throw up, and I put some Tic Tacs in my mouth, right? Because I'm at work, blah blah. I'm in an expensive building, work on this escalator, and I threw some Tic Tacs in my mouth. And then my guy I'm working with said, "Eddie, you just cheated on your diet with fucking Tic Tacs. You're gonna get." Oh, I'm telling your coach. As I call Brian, I'm like melting down, crying, like one of those bad
Yeah.
prep stories. I'm crying and I'm crying, sitting on the escalator steps with the whole thing ripped apart, covered in escalator
Yeah.
grease. I ate some Tic Tacs, and he just
Yeah.
started laughing. And oh my
You know
goodness,
what's
man,
funny?
uh, that is like you have to be. I really think
Dude,
that is like the golden standard for how worried about your prep you need to be.
the
You
same.
better hate your Tic
Yeah,
Tacs.
dude. You know what's funny? Same exact thing happened to me, but now with Tic Tacs.
Okay.
So I went to Starbucks
Mhm.
and I got a green tea lemonade.
Oh,
Or
no, no, no,
like it was
no,
like
no.
it said tea. It said
Okay.
tea. It was hot, or it was like a green honey something lemonade. So I was like, hey, can I get it?
Honey?
Can I get it without the
Oh,
honey?
okay,
Just the green tea
okay.
and some stevia. I get it. I'm like, this is a little bit sweet. So I look at the back of it and it's like green tea and lemonade. So I look up on Google. After I drink the whole thing, I was working somewhere. So I look up on Google how much, or does Starbucks have diet lemonade, or is there sugar in Starbucks' lemonade? It's like 20 grams of sugar per cup. I call Brian. I'm like, bro, I messed up. I messed up.
Throw it up
We're
right now.
like,
Throw it up.
I'm like, bro, I drank like this Starbucks drink. It has 20 grams of sugar. Like, how much cardio do I need to
Two more
do?
push-ups.
Dude, I was so like in my head, and then,
Yeah.
like, I did an extra 20 minutes of cardio that day because of that. And I told Brian, I was like, I don't care. I'm doing the cardio. Like, I messed up, dude. Like, and he's like, dude, you're fine. Like, we're like 8 weeks out. You're okay. Like, but it was just
What
so like,
you know what? 8 weeks out, like if you're already having those freak out tendencies, right? I call it the your prep period is what I call it. It's like the longest period that's ever existed as far as emotion for guys having crazy emotions.
yeah,
Because everything's weird in your life, right? You're working so hard toward this, and it's all gets a little shaky, it gets a little uncomfortable, right? Um, dude, those prep period meltdowns for males are
yeah,
absolutely hilarious because it usually something like that, and you feel so guilty. You feel like you cheated on
yeah,
yourself because you did,
yeah,
right? So I just betrayed everything I've wanted in this little portion of my life. Ooh, it can be weird. It
dude,
it gets
yeah.
weird.
And it gets like, even watching movies and stuff, you're like, yeah, like, I don't know. I feel like everything is just like 10 times more when you're in prep.
hmm
Everything.
Everything's under a magnifying glass.
Yeah.
It gets super scary. So what was it like going through your first show?
Okay, so we kind of talked about a little bit of it with the whole lemonade story.
Yes.
But
Was there another lemonade incident?
no, no.
Okay.
That was my only incident. No, nothing else in prep. Um I didn't miss a single cardio or workout session or miss a meal. I had at the very end of prep, I had a phase where I would go to a store every single day and try to find 0-calorie sauces to use on my food.
You could have just called me. I have like I have a list.
Yeah.
I have a
So
list.
I would be the weird guy going to Walmart and Target and looking at the back of every single sauce. And I'm like, okay, sriracha. Oh, this has sugar. I can't use it.
Mhm.
Or like, I would literally go like buy. I had my whole fridge and pantry was full of like 30 different sauces by
Yeah.
the end of prep.
Oh
So
yeah. Oh, I did a phase towards the end of mine. I ate everything plain.
yeah, yeah. That the last
I
Yeah,
thought like I'm gonna suffer a little bit more.
dude.
See what
The
happens.
last 2 weeks, I cut out everything.
Mhm.
Like, I was only doing plain chicken. I didn't even like cook it on the stove with
Mhm.
like a little bit of cooking
Just
spray. I
ate it
cut that out.
raw.
No, I wish.
No.
Turn into Liver King, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
turned Liver King.
I started putting things in the air fryer and like completely cut it out. Cleaned out my diet. I cut out the lettuce, turned it into or changed it to asparagus. Like, stopped trying to add volume to my food, and I suffered the most.
Mhm.
But I got so lean in those 2 weeks alone, just from cutting out, the lettuce and the hot sauces and the no sugar added ketchup and all that stuff. Just like, just dried me up.
Yes,
Yeah.
it works. It works in crazy, mysterious ways. I think one of my favorite the desperation meals. We all have desperation meals. My desperation meal was salmon, asparagus, mustard on the salmon,
Dude,
but it was so fucking good. Like I don't
yeah.
think people
I
understand
had
until they're in a serious caloric
did
deficit.
did you have
Yeah.
asparagus with the salmon?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
my meal.
With the mustard, dude.
Yep.
Just slather it on
And
there.
some Frank's Red Hot?
I didn't
No.
know I alternated
Okay.
because I didn't want to get burnt out any more than I already was because I was so burnt
Dude,
out.
last like 2 months of prep, that was my meal because I had 2 hours of cardio every day. So I would do an hour fasted, and then right after my workout, I would take a little break and I would go in the back room and eat my plain salmon with like Frank's Red Hot, mustard, and then asparagus. and then I would do my cardio. And that was the one meal I was looking forward to the most.
Oh Lord.
It was so good.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And it might sound gross to everyone who hears this, but it is when you're in a calorie deficit, everything tastes good.
The coconut
The
oil on my
water
eggs.
tasted the best.
Yeah.
Coconut oil. Oh
Oh,
my God.
dude.
I would like suck the juice out of asparagus
Yeah.
just to have it flavor in my mouth.
Yeah.
Like when you get to a certain point of desperation where there's no turning back.
Cucumbers with cinnamon.
Oh
Oh my
man, I
God.
never did that one.
No.
No,
Even now it's good.
I'm
Like
gonna try it.
off prep.
I'm gonna add it to my list.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add it to my list. Well,
And
I start dieting next week,
when
so
you're not in prep, you can put like cucumbers, cinnamon, and stevia.
yeah,
Dude, oh my God, best snack ever.
badass. So you're leading up to your show. You're going through the crazy food phase.
Yeah.
What was it like standing in front of these people now that, because this is like one of those full circle moments, right? You started your journey horribly overweight with
Yeah.
no guidance. You taught yourself, and then you got to a point where you brought on that extra help, that competitive edge for your show, and you got the guidance and you dialed some things in. Your body went through the changes. You're standing on stage lean as hell, showing all your hard work.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Two things. First thing is I want to say the first time you ever cut down to that body fat percentage or get the leanest is going to be the hardest you'll ever die. Like it's going to be the hardest thing ever whenever your first time cutting that much. Um and second thing is it was the best thing ever stepping on that stage. Everyone there was so supportive. Everyone there was so happy for each other. And just being able to present and bring the package that I've worked so hard for was just like I don't know, I was speechless. Like I was like, I can't wait to do this again. I'm like, when am I gonna go again? And like especially going through my routine and like um seeing everyone there and how great everyone looks. Like everyone brought an amazing package to the stage. And I think Emerald Cup was a really, really good show to do because it's such a big show to where it really opened my eyes to like, how great this can be.
I love it, man.
Yeah. How about you? How was your first show?
I don't usually talk about my first show. I had a bad experience with, I always say it like this, man, because I've grown a little bit since in the past, and I understand that different coaches, different approaches. I didn't have a good experience my first show. I won and was second overall, but I had lost so much muscle during my prep. I followed the guidance to the T. There wasn't a lot of it was an experience, and I'm thankful for it. You gotta be thankful for the lows as well as the highs, or the highs aren't going to be as high as they are, right? But I didn't have a good experience. I was doing pretty much a wrestler's weight cut, going into a bodybuilding show, and that's not something I recommend to anybody. There's no need to do a wrestler's or a fighter's weight cut if you're in bodybuilding. If you're properly pulling water, you're going to pull water over the course of a couple days. You might be using something like, there's a bunch of different ways to pull water safely without having your body be in harm. And I almost had to go to the ER afterwards. And I was in really bad shape, and my wife was freaked out. My family that came to visit me and see me and like support me was really, really worried about me. And it was a negative experience, and I felt off for weeks. I didn't feel good. And like after that, I had my injury.
Yeah.
One of my first major injuries as far as my health goes. And I think it may have been a result of what I was going through. Unfortunately, it's not an uncommon thing. I have friends who've gone through poor preps and had freak out sessions and got hurt and stuff like that. And it does happen. We hear about it on the news. Bodybuilders collapsing, or people they're in the sport of bodybuilding or fitness at all having conditions that they develop, and it ultimately just it can ruin bodybuilding for you. But I chose to continue participating in it and pursue it with a different coach, with a different approach, and it made all the difference. I was so happy my last show that I did, overwhelmed with excitement.
Yeah,
like I was just so happy to be there, and it was great to see what a good show is like when you're feeling good.
exactly.
I was 2.9% body fat, and I felt great.
Yeah,
I was very lean, and I felt small.
Yeah.
Felt really small.
That's the thing too.
But I got told that I looked great, so I guess it's not really what I want; it's what the judges want, right?
Yeah.
And I was happy to win.
And that's the thing is on the stage, I was the most conditioned, but I was one of the smaller guys up there.
Yeah.
So the judges were like, "You need more size on you,"
Hmm.
and that's what this year is for.
Yeah.
We've put on quite a bit of weight, and we're doing the same show next year, but
Yes.
this year we're getting first
The
place.
long prep
Yeah, it's
is
a
the
1 year
one.
prep.
The long prep is the one.
Yeah,
This I don't have a doubt you're gonna win, man. Because the slow knife is it said in the Batman movie. It's a slow knife,
yeah,
the knife that cuts the deepest, the one you don't expect to show up, right? And so as you take this year off of, man, stay covered. Obviously, show off your progress,
yeah.
but like I stayed covered as much as
I'm
possible.
gonna
I
the next.
creeped up, dude.
Yeah,
I was in sweatshirts a long time. So people were asking me, when are you gonna go on next? When are you going on next? I was in sweatshirts, and next thing I know, I took off my shirt, um, just to change out of my sweat soaked shirt, and someone was like, "Dude, you're like 50 pounds heavier than you were on stage." I said, "Something like that." Yeah, and because I worked it quietly. I ate my
yeah.
meals. I shut my mouth, and I did what I was told. You follow the plan, you're gonna be successful,
Dude,
right?
and that's the thing is like so many people are like, how do you get so big? How do you do this? How do you do that? You just gotta stay consistent. Just think I see so many people, they eat so much for 3 days and then they barely eat for the next four.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, you might be eating 4,000 calories for those 3 days, but for the rest you're eating 1,000.
Yeah.
So you're in a deficit at the end of the week. You're gonna be losing weight, not gaining weight.
Mhm.
But if you're consistently eating in a surplus every single day and you're lifting heavy weights every single day, you're gonna grow.
Mhm.
And you know, I just think consistency is key.
100%, dude. I mean, I had a really simple life, and I cut out a lot of things that weren't aligned with this. But it was eat, work, shower, sleep,
You had to throw
wake
shower in
up,
there.
eat again,
Yeah.
sex, shower, sleep, wake up, go to work. Like it's a
Yeah.
nonstop thing.
Yeah.
But there was like 5 other meals added to that day. But I ate so much,
Yeah.
and the drinking the water was the key. And at first you're gonna pee a bunch, but after you're hydrated, you're not gonna pee as much as you were before.
Dude.
And once you're drinking that gallon and a half every single day, the body just responds, and
Dude.
it responds great.
Yeah.
I love seeing the transformation. I love waking up feeling like I have energy.
Yeah.
I love taking 20-minute naps.
Yeah.
When because you feel tired all the time
Hmm.
when your body's processing all that food, and then you
Yeah.
just wake up and you're bigger,
Yeah.
and you look at the scale and wow, you're growing muscle, and
Yeah.
you look leaner.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy what happens.
Yeah. That's the thing is like when the best part, the why I'm so thankful to have an amazing coach like Brian is like you said, when your first show, you didn't feel good after. Like,
I cried a bunch.
yeah, like for me, literally the next morning. So I wanted to go back on the reverse diet.
Yeah.
I didn't want to have any cheat meals, and Brian was like, just take a day off. So I was like, okay. Next morning I go and I do hot yoga. Day after the show. Get super loose. I feel amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like, no more cardio, no more, I can eat whatever. Like for a whole day. I go do hot yoga, stretch out. I feel so good. And then I just ate like 10 meals of rice and chicken at home. And the next day I got on the reverse diet. And I think that's also one of the reasons why I grew so much is because I nailed the reverse diet. I had no cheat meals.
You're like a sponge after that show, and you can
Yeah.
soak up all these nutrients that your body's been deprived of.
I
With carbs are
yeah.
gonna go straight to you. Like I felt one, I was definitely super bloated for the first day. Like my stomach was completely just extended out to here.
Yeah.
But and then my water was back up, and then my body kind of felt normal again. And then I was able to feel like I could walk without feeling like my knees were gonna wear out the hinges.
Yeah.
And then next thing I know, I was blowing up.
Yeah.
I was hitting the gym with Brian. I was back to the shoulder press with 100 pounds each.
Yeah.
I was back to all these things, right? And it felt great.
Dude, and that's the thing is like everything goes up so quickly right after the
Mhm.
show.
I
Like,
can't tell you how many people don't reverse diet, and
yeah,
I feel sorry for them. Like you
same.
need to reverse diet.
Yeah. Because then you'll just put on fat and you won't gain any muscle.
Mhm.
And you threw a perfect opportunity to grow the most amount of muscle you probably ever will in a year right after a show is like I did a lot of like I was looking into a lot of people talking and stuff, and everyone's like, make sure you nail the reverse diet.
Mhm.
I listened, and I'm so thankful I did.
I'm thankful for you too, man, because you look phenomenal. I think that next year is going to be great. So speaking of next year, what are the plans? What's your
Okay.
you don't obviously don't you don't have to tell me all your secrets and stuff.
Yeah.
But what is in the future for you? What are your goals in the future? What do you see in the immediate future as your next goal?
Okay. So I have a few goals this year. This
Okay.
is a really big year for me.
Get married? No? Okay.
No, not yet. But we're gonna start off with my goal is to be 210 pounds by the end of the year, and then we start prep.
Mhm.
And we have two shows lined up. We're doing Vancouver and Emerald Cup.
Mhm.
So those are two really big shows. I'm still 19, so we're gonna do juniors for both those shows. Hopefully, bring the W home.
It's gonna be a shutout.
Yeah.
I'm calling it right now.
Okay.
If I'm wrong, I owe myself $100, but I'm not gonna be wrong.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes, and then hopefully pro card soon.
Mhm.
That's the goal. That's what we're working towards, and I think we can make it happen. I just got to keep working towards it. It's I think it's all I've ever wanted,
Mhm.
and I don't want to just get the pro card and just be like I have it. I actually want to do something with it
That's cool.
and make an impact. So,
What would that impact look like for you?
um, it's hard to say. I feel like because I love social media so much
Mhm.
and I love posting content. So, along the journey, I want to document everything. Um, and then once I get that pro card, I feel like I will be like I'll be able to compete in higher level shows.
Mhm.
And if I do better in those higher level shows, then maybe I can even go to the Olympia stage. And
Mhm.
then I would, being able to record content. Like if you see someone like Sebum, like Chris Bumstead, um, and he records his workouts. He gives out great knowledge,
Mhm.
but he's also one of the best competitors in the world,
Mhm.
right? So if I'm able to do that, is like, you know, Chris Bumstead's my inspiration. He's truly made an impact in the bodybuilding industry. And if I'm able to do something even like 1/8, 1/3 of what he's done, I feel like my life is set.
Okay. So you're looking to impact other people, be a leader in the fitness community and help. And there's another because you're a part of a different generation of fitness than I am. Like we have years between us. We have 10 years of age gap. Like so, I'm not going to be able to do things that you're going to be able to do with your group, the people that you interact with on social media or in real life. There's going to be differences that we all don't have. Not everybody can connect with everybody. So I think it's really great. I'm already seeing you connect with a lot of people, and you're talking about having people reach out to messages to you and saying what you're inspiring them is all great stuff, dude. I think it will definitely have a place in the future. I love watching people as they transform. And you have transformed. It's been only a couple of years, and wow, holy shit! Like it doesn't make sense to me how you could do what you've done if you hadn't been consistent. Because I know exactly what being consistent is.
Yeah.
Um, there's so much. I've done it for everything in my life that I've wanted to achieve. Whether it was advancing in the military, I went through the ranks and I became in charge of everybody, and it was great. And I got all these awards and recognized for a bunch of stuff. And they said I was gonna be the next Master Chief Petty Officer of the Navy or something, right? And I walked away from it because I was done with that portion of my life. But every single aspect of my life, I try to give it 110%. And some people say they can't give 110%. Yes, you can. Just
Yeah.
add an extra 10% on
Yeah.
top of what you think 100 is.
It's like you do your best and then
Mhm.
do even better.
And then even better. Every single day is as long as we're doing 1% better is amazing. So
And that's actually the motto I live by
mhm,
is be better than last time.
yeah.
And especially like that's literally the greatest way to live,
Mhm.
you know? If you're better every day in the gym, if you progress every week, you're better than last time. You go in there, work harder, do an extra set, an extra rep, add an extra 2.5 pounds,
Mhm.
whatever it takes to be better than last time, you're doing good. That's it. That's all it takes.
Absolutely. And I think you have what it takes to achieve your goals, man. It takes someone special to show up every day and keep working at it.
Yeah.
No matter what platform you're at, it every single day. And if you're getting bothered when you're taking rest days, you have the right stuff. If you're trying to do the reverse diet. You're trying to fuck off for a couple days after a show, but you can't because
Yeah.
you have the itch. That is it as well. Um, and the slow 1 year prep is the way to go.
Yeah.
You need time. It takes time to put on muscle.
It
The
does.
consistency added to that is just going to be an exponent, and it's just going to push you to new levels every single time you do it. So I think it's badass that you're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well,
Awesome.
where can people find you on the socials?
A Fitness,
A Fit.
AFITNEZ. So I have Instagram, TikTok. I do have YouTube. I
Okay.
posted my prep. I vlogged the whole prep.
Mhm.
Like I have like I think 10 weeks worth of from 10 weeks out till the show day.
Mm.
And then I stopped. So I'm trying to get back on the YouTube grind.
Okay.
And start, vlogging my bulk and then my progress into the prep.
Okay.
So
Because when those as those knives come out and they start
yeah,
making cuts in your muscles and it
yeah,
trims off the fat and stuff like that, that finished product is going to be
yeah,
amazing. But the steps towards it, that's what is amazing. Like
yeah,
the things that go into it that people don't talk about. Um, anything from not just chilling in the sauna, stretching in the sauna, doing yoga in the sauna, all these crazy
yeah,
things you can do that can help your body, and the rest is the key.
yeah. How did you struggle with like body dysmorphia when you were bulking?
100%.
How'd you deal with that?
Well, body dysmorphia comes in many shapes and sizes, right? I had body dysmorphia when I was worried about me being so skinny, so I put on muscle.
Mhm.
All you have to do is make changes, right? So when you're bulking and you're putting on muscle and you're adding fat, I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, we're not going to do what we used to do, where we look down upon ourselves or we let this feeling of concern be turned into insecurity. You have to look in the mirror, and how I found solace is understanding what the goal is, right? My goal is not what I look like right now. This is just a stage in this journey, right? It's just like that's how I can compare this to how I deal with the injury I've had. Right, I have 2 tears in my shoulder. They don't want to operate on me because it'll make me worse, and I'm in great shape, quote unquote. Right,
Yeah.
I've literally lost 25 pounds, so I'm struggling with body dysmorphia right now. How do I deal with that? By making small changes, putting it in integers so I know I'm working towards the right goal. Because if I'm not working towards this goal and I'm sitting here in this pool, I'm just being sandbagged by my own negativity. So I say, okay, I know where I'm headed. This is just another phase in there. What can I do to speed up this process? How can I get the hell out of this feeling? Right?
Yeah.
Having the feeling of body dysmorphia is very, very common, and especially with bodybuilding. So many of us started this just because we don't like how we look.
Yeah.
I hated how I looked. I got out of the military. I had a messed up knee. I was 125 pounds. By the end of my time bulking and building muscle, I was 220 almost. I was 214.
Two,
I was
214.
214, and then I just I slowed down and my life changed because I had a serious financial crisis in my life. Kind of went to shit. I like things had to change. And unfortunately, that portion, that chapter of my life, bodybuilding, had to go on pause. That doesn't mean that the book's done being written. And knowing where you're at in your chapter, in the chapter book of life, that piece that says, God, I don't like what I see in the mirror. It's like the worst feeling ever. I can't even talk about it without getting all worked up and shit. Look in the mirror and not like what you see. It's the worst feeling ever. The worst. There's no breakup. There's no stubbing your toe on a brick.
Mhm.
There's no getting your car smashed into and stolen that can amount to not liking what you look in the mirror. And I tell this to everybody I know.
Yeah.
As soon as you get that feeling, you have to remember who you are first. You're not your body. This is just some flesh that hangs off of us. Who we are on the inside is what really matters. Now, that being said, I don't like what I look like, but this is a part of the journey, and it's going to get better. How can I speed up this process? I know. I can set an alarm on my phone for my next meal. I can drink more water so I can pee more because I'm probably just feeling bloated. I'm probably just feeling bloated. Let me see if I need my water or drink more water right now.
Yeah.
Am I eating too much fake sugar? Is my stomach feeling bloated because of that?
Yeah.
Am I
Dude.
making sure am I drinking just pure black coffee in the morning? That's a natural diuretic to help flush my system
Yeah.
to keep that toxic waste that's in my bowels gone.
Yeah.
Digestive enzymes are huge.
Dude,
You already take those,
100%.
right?
Yeah. And the thing about like artificial sweeteners,
Mm-hmm.
dude. At the end of like during prep, I was just doing a bunch
Mm-hmm.
on everything, and right when I cut it out, my digestion was like
The
thanking me.
thanking you,
I was
yes.
like, "Oh my god, this is how it feels to be
Mm-hmm.
normal."
Yeah.
Like I was just like, dude, because I was doing so much like stevia and
Mm-hmm.
Splenda and everything. Just
I save those for the very end of prep when I'm in
yeah,
when we're riding the struggle bus. It does happen. We ride the struggle bus a little bit. Put it on my if I'm eating oats, I put it on that, or if I'm or my rice,
yeah.
my 75 grams of carbohydrates, right?
Dude,
My
I
white
would do
rice.
sugar-free syrups.
Right?
So
No, no, just cinnamon and
yeah,
stevia, dude. Pour it on the on
yeah,
that on your. It's like a Rice Krispie treat, but better.
yeah,
At the end of the day, it's a you did, and that's part of my process with body dysmorphia. I look forward to those small things. What can I do to elevate me, but also to drive me harder? Okay, I'm gonna wear a hood to the gym. If I don't like how I look, okay, I'm fine with
yeah,
that. I'm wearing a hoodie to the gym tomorrow. I'm gonna sweat my ass off, and I'm gonna be wondering why I'm wearing this hoodie. Take the hoodie off. See, we're not afraid anymore. You force yourself into those uncomfortable positions, and it's just like any aspect of life. Body dysmorphia, it does hurt people. So many of our men and women in this country suffer from body dysmorphia. It's ridiculous. We have women that will literally pay thousands of dollars to put fake things in their bodies, and men who do the same thing. We have men who are getting lipo. We have women who get lipo. We have children changing their bodies. Like body dysmorphia is a big issue for a lot of people.
yeah,
How can we combat it? By focusing on what our end goal is and speed of the process. And that hoodie, when I put up that hoodie, if I don't like how I look right now, I put on a hoodie. Did it really make me feel better, or did it just make me hate my life and sweat because I'm overheating?
yeah. And that's the thing too, is like a lot of times I'll be like, man, I look like shit, so I'll wear like a really baggy shirt,
Mm-hmm.
like a tank top underneath, or a
You
really
know,
or like
yeah.
an oversized hoodie. Once I get that pump and I take that off, I'm like, okay, I look good. And then 5 minutes later, I'm like, I look like shit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all in my
It
head.
struggles.
Yeah,
And that doesn't stem from your bodybuilding stuff. It stems from your childhood. You know,
yeah,
we all suffer different avenues of difficulty that drive us towards our future. And if we don't deal with it, we compartmentalize things, right? As humans, when we think strength means put up your problems in a box and put in your attic and never open it up. But eventually that shit's gonna surface, and you're gonna have to combat that. And the longer that box sits in there, the longer you forget what's in the box, and the more it impacts you. And that's how I deal with body dysmorphia. I focus on my what's next, and I make it so obvious to to play games with myself. If my brain's playing mind games with me, I'm gonna play mind games back.
mhm,
Okay, we'll wear the hoodie. Now you're sweating your ass off, and now you hate the sweat. You feel like you're trapped in a box of
yeah,
sweat. Take off your sweatshirt. You don't feel bad about yourself. You just are uncomfortable, and uncomfortability is when we grow. We don't grow sipping a cup of coffee, writing a book about how someone else did something hard. We do it ourselves, and that's body dysmorphia 101. Combat it. Tell yourself that you can do this. Um, the people that suffer the most from body dysmorphia, in my experience, are the men around us because we
yeah,
don't talk about it. There's a lot of things we do that is as men that's not right, and the biggest thing is to talk about it. So body dysmorphia, face it. Tell yourself this is a part of the process. You have to trust the
yeah.
process.
And
You're
that's
working with a coach because you trust the process. You're lifting weights every day because you are you're engulfed in the process. I wouldn't
yeah,
say you trust the process. I say you are the
yeah,
process, right? And your final goal when you stand on that stage is going to be everything to you. I take pictures of myself just like you have in your phone on ready to send to me, pictures of the phone you don't like about yourself.
yeah,
And I remind myself who I used to be, and I'm never going back. I
yeah,
will never again. I don't care if I have I'm really I have to do blood tests like pretty regularly now because this is the age where cancer starts to develop in my family chronically. I don't care if I'm gonna die tomorrow. I'm gonna like how I look because I deserve it. I don't deserve to feel less about myself. And part of this process is the reps, is the water, is the showing up every day, is the surrounding myself with positive, powerful people, is the listening to other people's life story and reminding myself my problems aren't that big.
yeah,
I didn't get I have friends who had really serious life struggles, and listening to their situations give me better perspective, and I don't have it that bad. So perspective and showing yourself that yes, this is a part of the process, and if you don't take the time to do it, you'll never know how great you can become. You'll never know.
yeah.
You're the one doing this. This is bodybuilding is a you versus you thing. You talked about that. But ultimately, once you make a lifestyle change like you have, and you're a completely different person than you are in those pictures of you as a child, horribly overweight, unhappy, bullied. No one can say that shit about you now.
Yeah.
You might be horribly in weight, right? You're
Yeah.
like right where you
Dude.
need to be. And
Yeah. And that's, I think body dysmorphia hit me really, really hard the last couple weeks because I went to LA for like 20 days
Mhm.
and I got sick and lost 10 pounds.
It happens.
And I was like 215.
Mhm.
I love the way I look. I was putting on really good muscle, and then I got sick and lost 10 pounds. And I just feel like I'm like, dude, I'm behind.
It comes
It's
back. It comes
yeah,
back. That's a part of the journey too. Those setbacks.
yeah,
Those setbacks. But don't look for it. What I would say is, because I have, if anyone has had so many setbacks, I cannot tell you how many setbacks I
yeah.
had. It gets
And
frustrating
and I
sometimes.
just want to say something. I've known Eddie for so many years, and honestly, when he was prepping for shows, I've never seen anyone put their head down and work as hard as him.
Thank you, bro.
Like,
Thank you very
dude, I
much.
remember when I was in Total Nutrition, you would come in, you had the death face
Dude,
going
the
on,
death face. I wouldn't even
and
talk to
you
people.
wouldn't talk to
I
anyone.
I, I like
Yeah,
nod to you, like
yeah,
grunt maybe.
yeah, and you're like a week out, and then I saw a picture of him like a week later, and I was like, oh my god, that's him. Like he like you
Thanks,
know,
man.
yeah,
I listened to somebody. Somebody told me, don't do this. Don't do this for looks. Do this because you need this, and it will help you every time. And I had the death face. I had the death face. I felt cold, so I wore a hoodie.
the
Yeah,
cold.
the cold is the worst
Oh
part.
my god,
The cold is the worst part.
yeah, like
I
I
had
was
two
wearing
sweatshirts on, bro.
same,
Two
same,
at work in
yeah.
construction.
Yeah. When I was working at the time, I remember I was wearing long sleeve, hoodie, jacket, and then I would wear like I would still be cold. I would be here like,
Hmm.
what's the temperature in here? And it's like 80.
Yes.
So
The fat. Once the fat leaves,
yeah,
the body is cold.
yeah,
And the one thing I will say is though, don't try to be a superstar athlete swimmer after you've leaned out
yeah.
because muscle don't float.
I know.
Muscle does not. I
Yeah.
thought I was a great swimmer all growing up until I got in the water when I was muscular. Then I was like, ooh,
See, I was a lifeguard. So
yeah,
I would jump in and I started just sinking.
oh
Like
yeah,
I couldn't even float on my back.
yeah.
So
We don't sink like too far, but you do sink like,
yeah,
and that is scary enough for me to say no.
yeah.
Well,
Um,
damn, man. What? But that is. I'm sorry you're going through body dysmorphia. The one, if I could say anything that would try to shake you out of it, is like what I said. Just trust the process because you might feel uncomfortable right now, but that's because that trauma is surfacing,
yeah,
or that and those experiences are surfacing. It's not because of anything else. You can do it, and you're gonna get through this. It's just another phase. Because pretty
exactly.
soon you'll be cutting, and then you get the cut's
Yeah,
gonna show up, and then you're gonna be like,
yeah.
oh
Oh,
yeah,
like I look good.
shreds, the
Yeah.
shreds, and
Yeah.
the body starts to shape, and then you start to really see, as you finish your prep, you add a little bit more muscle here, and Brian says, okay, this part's lacking, and then you're like, okay, so I'm gonna do this exercise more. All right, we're cutting out the 2 days for the shoulders because the shoulders are good. I'm gonna increase my triceps because they're more of a percentage than my bicep on my arm to make sure I'm balanced. Because when you look at the back, you don't see a lot of biceps, right?
Yeah.
Usually, depending on what pose you're doing, what angle, the judges might not see your biceps. Keep the triceps full. My rhomboids and my traps are not pumping in. How good are my shark teeth? Am I doing a lot of straight arm lat pull downs where I'm really really flexing and then doing the extra crank with my abs to make sure my serratus is exploding? It looks like a shark tooth. All these small things you can do to complement your body, and they all click.
Yeah.
And they all click. It's like the click way,
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Well, I really do appreciate you making the trek down here, and not just that, I appreciate you sharing your story. It's not ever easy to talk about the lows we've had in life.
yeah, of course. And thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. And especially sharing my story and hearing some of your advice.
Oh yeah.
So it's really helped with the body dysmorphia because it's something I've struggled with, man.
Okay. Well, you
Yeah,
have my Instagram, and I can always just give my number after this. But it's something I tell to everybody I come into contact with is ever going through a bad time or had a bad time. A lot of this is just created in our head, and it's just cortisol and
yeah,
stress and or whatever, right? We have these chemicals in our brain, but that doesn't mean we have to go through it alone. So please do reach out. You're never alone in this, and reach out to the rest of the team, brother,
yeah,
because if Brian's obviously got his hands full with a lot of clients, but he still answers obviously. But
yeah. And I don't know
there's
how
so
he
many other
does it.
people. There's so many other people on the
Yeah,
team too. Jack,
yeah.
um,
Oh, Jack is like my older brother.
he's a great soul.
Yeah, he
He
is.
is a great
He's
soul.
gonna go pro this year.
Yeah,
I'm calling it.
I really think if there's anybody, those are the best genetics I've ever seen. I'll tell you that. They
He's
really
also
are.
really good. Like he works so hard, bro.
Yeah,
He wants it. He's hungry for it.
I think he can do it.
Yeah.
If um, I often think about things I could have done differently in my life, and I can't say that I regret anything. I've really tried really hard, and whatever happened happened. And that's it. Like it's kind of like you talked about. I kept my nose to the grindstone. I just shut up and did my shit.
Yeah.
And I do the endless sets. I was like 2 weeks out doing deadlift after deadlift after deadlift after deadlift, like hard and heavy. My whole workout hard and heavy to keep
Yeah.
my muscle full.
I feel like the thing is, as you get closer to the show, you mentally get stronger
Yes.
and you become stronger.
Yes.
Like that's why you see so many people getting stronger into the show because like mentally they're like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm so close. I have a goal. Like I need to do this.
Uh-huh.
But some days I was like, I can't even lift up 5 pound dumbbells.
Hey, it's okay.
Yeah.
We have things for that. That's what static holds are for. That's what
Yeah.
different exercises and mixing it up too. Sometimes you just ain't got it, and you can't always dig deep if there's nothing there, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but I do
Yeah,
appreciate having you on, man.
of course.
Thanks everybody for listening to another episode of Off the Deep End. If you love Anthony's story like I do, please do reach out to him. Make sure you follow him on TikTok, Instagram, and stay tuned because he might be coming on again very shortly. We're going to be having a panel about fitness and the benefits and the pluses and the minuses. So we're going to figure this whole fitness thing out, and hopefully it helps you start your fitness journey and continue on it if you're having maybe some doubts about what direction to go in. There's never been a bad time to start your fitness journey, your self-defense journey, or your mental health journey. And I encourage you to start today. Please do reach out to us on our Facebook page. And as always, thanks for listening. We spent a lot of time on this podcast talking about mental health, but I want to talk about physical health for a second. There's nothing more uplifting and confidence boosting than looking in the mirror and seeing exactly what you want looking back at you. The person I trust to make sure that's happening, no matter if I'm going through an injury or not, is Brian Click. He's my friend, mentor, coach, and now one of our sponsors here at Off the Deep End. Head over to the link in the description and check out why I choose him. All over his Instagram and his website, you will be seeing the different clients who've worked with him in the past, whether it's bodybuilding or just maintaining a healthy lifestyle or working towards a certain goal in a sport and making sure you make weight. Brian is a guy I trust for every single different category and facet that fitness surrounds. There's nothing more important than liking what you see in the mirror and liking how you feel when you wake up every day. So head over to his website and get this process started.